Hey guys, Tarke here, and I'm going to talk over some random map footage of me randomly mapping today. So, I've been a bit away from the PV streams. There's been like 2 days of no PV streams. And I want to give you guys a catch up on what I've been up to, what builds I'm playing, and everything that's been going on. So the last video I did in terms of PV build was the Detonate Dead Elementalist. As you can see in the background, that's an explosive arrow character. Why would I swap over to Explosive Arrow? Well, as you can see in the very top here, Detonate Dead wasn't really duo viable. And so anyone who watches the stream knows that I've been regularly playing and mapping with the usual Discord bros, the main one being Kane, and me and Kane have been doing a lot of sort of duo synergy builds recently. Now, I was mapping with Kane, and I was trying to make it work with the Detonate Dead, but it wasn't working particularly well with his build, and it just wasn't particularly working well in terms of duo play anyway. He was doing a Baronastra CI Assassin using the Hemophilia gloves, meaning he got juicy bleeds and explosions. Now, his explosions would detonate corpses, meaning they go pleh, which means that I would have no corpses for me to pleh with my Detonate Dead. Also, as you can see, he was a zoom, gotta go quick shield charge build. And that had slightly negative synergy with Detonate Dead, because the way that my Detonate Dead build works, I had to cast Desecrate once to create corpses, and then I had to cast Orb of Storms to cast Proc EE, Mastermind of Discord, Detonate. So it was basically, it was a very clunky 3-step build, and that was the main thing I didn't like about the Detonate Dead, was it was a 3-step build. So it was Step 1, Desecrate, Step 2, Orb of Storms, trigger curses, Step 3, Detonate. For solo play, it's fine. As we all know, it's nothing special though. I did actually, before I transition into Explosive Arrow, just do a lot of mapping with Fireball. Fireball is just way more efficient. It scales off much the same things, except for it doesn't have all the bullshit tied into it. Do you want to do Detonate Dead? If you want to do it just for the fun, as an exercise, it's great. But it's very awkward, it's very limiting, and it is very, very clunky to play. And to be honest, you can do much better Ignite-based builds. How did I feel about life and mind over matter? So as you can see at this point, I started mapping with Kane at like 75, 76. You can see I'm farming Strand. I think I'm about 80 at the highest at this point. This was pretty early into the stream, so like 2 hours in. And I started the stream at like 75, so I'm probably about 80-ish, maybe 79 here. 5.8k HP, just under 3k mana. So you're looking at actually a pretty tanky character. You're looking like a very easy 9k roughly effective HP, and it's really, really easy to reach and maintain. I think that Mind of Matter is actually in a really nice spot right now, and with the potential upcoming CI nerfs in 3.0, Mind Over Matter will be something people start pushing towards. If you are interested in this Explosive Arrow character, again, I recently referenced Waggle's Explosive Arrow Mind Over Matter build. Check that out. This is basically the same setup. We had slightly different skill trees, but the skill trees were so minor that really just follow his guide. He did an amazing job with it. So I did a full day of mapping. I was actually really enjoying Explosive Arrow. It's been a long time since I last played Explosive Arrow. Explosive Arrow is always been one of my favorite builds. I like to play at least once a league. I did play it last league to 89, 90. I think it was 89 when I got bored and stopped playing it. It was still alive. I was doing it as a Pathfinder. I think I still prefer Pathfinder over Elementalist. It's been a very long time since I did an Elementalist prolif-based Explosive Arrow. Definitely something I'd recommend. Very good, very budget-friendly. Depending on how Explosive Arrow fares going into the 3.0, definitely something I would always recommend as a starter build. So if you haven't tried it out yet, definitely try it now before it gets changed, because it's a shame to let the build go. And as you can see, you can do quite good things with Mind Over Matter now and get some pretty good tankiness. Even if you want to do just a generic life tree, look at like 7, 8k HP, I recommend it. So I kept mapping like this, was enjoying the character. Kane did unfortunately rip. He thinks it's a PK, maybe it was a slight PK. Basically what happened was we were just mapping, going fine. It was invasion, extra damage, and it was the reflect invasion boss, plus a bunch of porcupines popping and a detonate going off all at once. I was ahead, I was killing stuff. He like shield charges into like 100 porcupines exploding, and a Vaal DD going off, and reflect. You can watch it on my YouTube. He kind of fell over, so that was a little bit. So I felt kind of bad that he died, and also we'd been wanting to play more builds which had good synergy with one another. We'd done the Righteous Fire Burning Arrow Raider, that was amazing synergy. We did the Poison Split Arrow with the Cast One Shining Animate Weapon, that was really good synergy. He ended up just logging back on his Animate, and we did some Animate and Explosive Arrow characters together. It wasn't that great. So we want to think of like 2 new builds which really worked well together. And we have come up with something new. We are both leveling new characters together. And we are leveling a Voltaxic Spark. The funny thing about this actually is anyone who watches the stream regularly knows that I wanted to play Voltaxic Spark myself like a week or 2 ago. And I was trying to talk to Kane for advice because the way I first met Kane was back pushing in Perandus. And he did a lot of Volt Spark back then. And we raced together doing Volt Spark. So, you know, I thought, oh, he's quite a good guy to ask. He's played a lot of this last. And he just straight up convinced me that actually Voltaxic Spark is terrible. There's no way it'll work in today's world. And I was like, really? Are you sure? Like, Mathel did it last league. It seems really good on paper. So, like, I can get the tool to it. And I was like, no, it's dead. It's dead, Tarke. Don't do it. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I was like, I don't really be like, sure, whatever. So when he was looking for new builds, one thing that Kane does, and I do recommend this to you guys, is look on the ladder. So he's a hardcore player, so he goes onto the hardcore ladder and he looks at the top builds people are playing, looks at the different ascendancy options, and he saw someone had died at level 98 doing Voltaxic Spark Pathfinder. He was like, ooh, this seems really interesting. He's like, oh, Tarke, I think I will do Voltaxic Spark. I'm like, dude, that's the... Anyway, so whose profile did he find? He found... Dun, dun, dun... Dried Lake China Farmer 2, aka Basilox. Basilox is a very good player because he's got lots and lots of 100s. And this is the modified version of Basilox's tree. And these were the items he was using. We'll do a brief sort of rundown, go through the kind of options, talk about the tree and stuff. And basically, we're both going to be playing Voltaxic Spark. So, what is Voltaxic? Voltaxic Rift Spine Bow. It's a unique bow which converts 60% of your lightning damage to chaos. It used to be 100% conversion, and that's when Kane last played it. So after the nerf, a lot of people got a reaction, thought, oh, Volt Spark is dead. It's still pretty good, guys. So Voltaxic Rift Spine Bow with a Samus Gift Spike Point Arrow Quiver. Now, the funny thing about all of this was the creator of this build was actually in my chat at the time that we were looking at his profile. It's like, dude, why are you stealing my build? And we sort of memes, sort of spoke about the build quite a lot. Very privileged position I'm in where I can actually regularly reach out and talk to guys whose builds that inspire me. And he was saying, yeah, the quiver's decent, it gives you some damage. It gave him about 47% increased lightning damage, it doesn't double dip, but the main reason he was running it was for the chance to avoid being stunned. Also gives a little bit of resist and a little bit of cast speed. The increased global crit chance helps proc EO, but it's not an amazing DPS quiver. You could very easily replace this with something like Drill Neck for just 50% double dipping proj damage, or you could go for just like a rare, or you could use Soul Strike for flat energy shield. There are a lot of options here, and in a world of double dipping being removed potentially, then you know this would become a lot better. But currently this isn't really a DPS quiver. It's a quiver which gives some DPS, but it's mostly there for the chance to avoid being stunned. Just a pretty nice hubris circlet with a lot of energy shield, stats, mana, resists, Spark Proj Speed enchant if you can get your hands on it. Vaal Regalia with ES resists. Same with the gloves. Brinerock Whalers. So Brinerock Whalers are just like the go-to boots for so many builds now. It's Path of Projectiles currently. These gives projectile damage, which is pretty good. Projectile damage is king. It's double dipping scaling damage. They also give a lot of any shield, really good movement speed. Get Brinerock Whalers. Victario's Acuity for both power and frenzy charge generation, even though this is an elemental overload build. Power charges do give damage. Sorry, with this amulet, 5% increased projectile damage per power charge. And also, the more crit you have, the easier it is to maintain your elemental overload. So this is just a very nice Ami to get the frenzy charge generation. You can, however, use the Green Dream Jewel and not use this amulet and use a different amulet. Either like a damage based or more defensive based, if you want to use an Eye of Chiula maybe for stun immunity rather than using this quiver. Rings, Essence of Envy crafted to get the chaos damage, double dips, then just fill in, you know, percent energy shield if you can afford it, flat ES resists. Pretty straightforward. Leather belt, crystal belt, sorry, get Energy Shield, get Flask Effect stuff, because Flask Effect is broken on belts and very undervalued. In Serious Promise, it gives damage, it gives leech. Nothing else to really explain. Basalt Flask, because Fizzmit is important in a game which has Fizz damage. Alchemist Quicksilver Adrenaline, gotta move fast, and we're a Pathfinder, and it's Spark, and move fast, because moving fast. Silver Flask, for gotta move fast. And then a Vessel of Vinctar for more super leech, and you'd go for the flat lightning damage added to spells as your choice. Otherwise, you're mostly using Sack Harvest, because this is a Vaal Spark-centric version. You can do this being just a Spark setup, but if you want to go Vaal Spark, you need the Sack Harvests. And one Intuitive Leap, and this is actually, a lot of people have done this Intuitive Leap thing before, and you Intuitive Leap here to get the last load of Melding and to get Overcharged. You can also get Dreamer if you need the mana. But in a world where energy from within costs so much, this is actually a very nice, this is like a nice meta pick. So I'd recommend this to a lot of people right now who can't really afford an energy from within. Pick up one Intuitive Leap, it lets you pick up this quite nice ES node, get Overcharged, and also Dreamer if you need the mana. It's not amazing, it's not best of slot, you can replace it, but this is a very nice cheap starter jewel which gives you some experimentation. Now, this is the tree that I've whittled it down to, and this has been approved by the original build creator. Obviously, he was 98 when his tree would look slightly different. The main things, I did add one or two small things to it. I did add this skill effect duration cluster, and he said that he actually thought maybe he should be adding skill effect duration to the tree. And basically, it makes the poisons better, it makes Vaal auras better, it makes just Spark better. It's just, get it? It's a big DPS boost, and it's only 2 points away, so go for it. Get Primal Spirit, because Primal Spirit's good. Flask Charge gained gives stats. Heart of Oak gives stun avoidance. And let me just... why is that being weird? Sorry, that was annoying me a little bit. Hello, Tarke 2. There you go, sorry about that. Come up this way. For the record, Druidic Rite is definitely worth getting, but get it at a higher level. Currently, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, which is pretty intense. Get some aura effectiveness and reduced aura reservation. 2-point jewel, Vaal Pact. You can do a blue dream here and pick up Void Barrier. And I think I might add Void Barrier to the tree, but I'm not sure what I'd cut from it later on. This might be something I just get a slightly higher level just to really fluff out the ES. Although we currently already have 224% ES. This will be a level 90 tree with Kill Frenzy. Come up to Fangs of the Viper, get Entropy. This is just damage over time. Again, this is a poison focus. We want to scale all the poison damage from our Spark Lightning conversion. Nullification, Proj Speed, Proj Damage, double dips, very powerful. Come up, get the ES wheel. Boom, get Atrophy. You can also get Method to the Madness, but get this at a high level. You can also get Shadow Start, but get this at a higher level. Written in Blood, a little bit of reduced mana reserved. CI, Ghost Reaver, because CI, Vaal Pact, Ghost Reaver, that's a good combo. Another jewel here. Again, this is another place you can proc a Dream Jewel if you want to, for either power or frenzy generation or endurance generation. You'd also have generation of all from Overcharged and get piercing shots. If you want to, you can use the Voidwalker unique boots. However, the Voidwalker unique boots, they do give you pierce while you have phasing, but you then need to use a phasing flask, which uses up a slot to have it up all of the time, and they don't have very much ES on them. So in softcore, go for it. In hardcore, you can do it. It does save you points on the tree, but the boots themselves don't have much base energy shield, and Brinewatt Whalers do give a lot of damage, so it's something to really consider. Also, Voidwalkers are still fairly expensive in hardcore, so that's another sort of like meta thing you talk about. I'm sure in softcore they're like a dime a dozen. Come through this way, get stats as you need the stat requirements, as we've already discussed with Overcharged. Come through, Harrier is just a nice point, it gives some movement speed, and we need jewel slots because again, Sack Harvest build, so we really are chasing jewels in this build. So the reason why coming down this way isn't that bad, because it does give us access to a jewel, and you have access to another jewel here if you really do need it. Come through the Energy Shield, we've already discussed Potency of Will. You can drop it if you want to, but it's a very, very nice pickup for the build. Come through ES, Alchemist, Jewel, Energy Shield, and Elemental Overload. Again, this is non-crit. If you do want to make this more damage orientated, if you're a softcore player and you don't really care about survivability, don't go crit, stay non-crit, but just fill in all of the juicy damage over here, and then change the routing slightly to look something more like this. and then cut some energy shield from other places in the tree. So this would be your, ooh, look at my amazing level 100 tree. But I mean, yeah, you would cut stuff elsewhere. If you're not worried about doing a Vaal Spark version, then you can drop some of the crazy jewel setups. You can maybe go voidwalker boots. You can drop stuff like this. You know, looking at like a 112 build with voidwalker. Those softcore guys who want to go full on deeps. There are things you can do. I will leave a link to all of this down below, and there isn't really much gameplay I can show you of this character in action because it's level 40 something and it is just leveling. So I can keep some random map footage running in the background while I talk for a bit longer. But if I can find relevant map footage, there's a lot of AFK and theory crafting going on in the stream. We did run some breaches and stuff, or we AFK'd in breaches. Fun little thing, so if there are any hardcore players who want to breach farm, we have a MF quant setup, animate weapon character. I still have my split arrow character alive at 91, I have a few characters at like 88. Kane has his MF quant animate weapon at like 94. The problem we have is we need more people. So if there's anyone in hardcore who wants to like group together to do some breach runs, pull in costs, feels good. Basically, the way we do it is we start off the run just while he builds up his charges, and then you actually hang back, you let him get all the kills because of all his quant and MF, and you get some pretty tasty returns. We tried it out for like half an hour to an hour, and it was all right, but we didn't have a large enough group size, and we didn't have enough people pulling currency in, so we're like, you know what, let's not go too crazy on it. But with the amount of quant you can get ridiculous amounts of currency doing this. Gazzy is currently doing this, and he was in stream while we were chatting with him. He said he was getting like just a raw exalt an hour dropping just because of how much raw MF you can get these days. It really is crazy. So that's just like a little side thing to throw out there to anyone. And really, guys, one thing I do just want to say, the beta will be coming out soon. We don't know how they're going to handle double dipping. We don't know how they're going to handle stuff like breach. So if you haven't done any breach runs yet, if you haven't done any crazy double dipping builds that you think you might want to do, make sure you try it now, guys, because you don't know how it's going to last into the beta, and so forth and so on. But yes, I'm Tarke. I'll keep you guys updated, and as always, you can look at my profile if you want to see what my characters are up to or whatever. I'm Tarke. That's also, I'm bad at pointing. That's also Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.